welcome to the next episode of our life purpose journey. And today we're going to be looking at life purpose gleanings. Now, gleanings is a term that's used for extracting something valuable from a long process of sifting through ordinary stuff. So gleaning can be gleaning the wheat from the chaff from a crop that's been harvested from the field. Gleaning was also something that was used for panning for gold in the old days, when people by hand would get a pan sifting through the riverbed of all the silt that's there in search for one valuable nugget of gold. And the reason why we use that term gleanings is because your life experience so far, out of all of those seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, and years that make up the totality of your existence, within there are some real nuggets of gold of experience that give you clues as to what your future life purpose is actually all about. Another picture, which is a useful one for this exercise, is that of being an archaeologist, whereby you've got an area of ground that is measured by length and width, but also depth, with a huge amount of dust and soil and rocks in there. But you know that underneath all of that, there are actual ancient artifacts that give you clues for what has happened and what can go forward in this. So we're going to be asking you a number of questions to reflect back on your life to extract what those nuggets of gold are. And throughout your life, you'll catch glimpses of your life purpose. What we mean by that is your unique destiny that you were created for. And there's been significant life experiences that you've been through, and we're going to list off a number of categories for which you can look through your life experience to get those. Number one is circumstances beyond your control. Thinking through what are the positive or negative life experiences that have shaped you in fundamental ways. And you can include in here the givens of your life that were actually beyond your control and that you didn't have any choice over, which will be your parents, your birthplace, the generation of which you are a part, and the upbringing whilst you were dependent on your family around you. And these have helped define who you are. Coming to terms with these background circumstances is actually foundational to moving forward in life with any sense of wholesome, genuine, and humble confidence, whereby you can carry a real authentic sense of peace and joy and rightness of being so that you can help other people. We cannot run from these facts about ourselves. We need to be able to come to terms with them and use them as a springboard going forward, a stepping stone, rather than a stumbling block. So that's circumstances beyond your control. Secondly, there's the area of needs. What kind of needs, situations, circumstances, or people's needs really tug at your heart? What are those needs that you've responded to throughout your life? What are the problems in the world that you'd like to dedicate part or all of your life towards solving? What are you most passionate about? Each of us carries within ourselves the answer to somebody else's obstacle, struggle, or life problem. So number two is needs. Number three is experience and fruit. In other words, in what areas have you got valuable experience? What has been the most and best fruit in your life, or where has it come from? What are the kinds of things that your life experience has prepared you to do? We want you to think through in terms of your friendships at school, volunteering, work, your leisure and recreation pursuits, even just your life around the house, whether that's in the kitchen, in the garage, in the garden, or wherever. What has been the experience and fruit? And we want you to include there also some of the negative experiences that you've had that's shown you something that you're not made to do. I know, for example, myself, I once had a summer job working as a check-in agent at an airport, which involved a lot of detailed recording of people's details as they were checking in the days before computers. And I have not got an eye for specific admin detail, and in this managed to get the baggage loaded onto the plane in the wrong way and managed to delay a whole plane and messed up people's holidays for a whole day. And I took the lesson from that specific detailed admin was not going to be my career of choice. So that's experience and fruit. The next one is confirmation and counsel. In other words, what have other people seen and affirmed in you? Think of some specific events where you've received significant counsel or feedback regarding what you've been about. And this can be from family, mums, dads, brothers, sisters, uncles, aunties, grandparents, etc. Friends, teachers, sports coaches, music coaches, spiritual leaders in the community, this kind of feedback. What have you done where this feedback that you've received was exceptional? And we're not just talking about feedback from people who hold a specific role. That can be feedback from your friends who've really appreciated your role, your friendship at particular times in their lives. So that's confirmation and counsel. The next one is gifts, skills, and abilities. What are you naturally gifted at? What important learned skills have you actually developed? In what kinds of situations do you really shine? Where do your abilities really stand out? And that we want you to include there in friendships, in sport, in play, around the house, at school, in voluntary and paid work experience, in music, in the arts, when you're on your own, when you're with other people. Where is that natural gifting, and also what are those things that you have learned on top of that? If you have done any of the psychosomatic testing, what kind of personality type do you have? The next category is inner knowing. What we mean by that is what do you have a sense of destiny about? What have you always wanted to do with your life, but maybe ever since you were a kid? What do you have a sense of destiny about, the things that you think you might be or do someday that you're not even sure you'd want to admit out loud, but it's a deep inner knowing. And then the next category is fulfillment and delight. When did you do something that just clicked and you felt, I feel born to do this? What have you accomplished that was really fulfilling in life? What are the little things in life that you take a lot of pleasure in? And then the last category we want you to look at is revelation. And this may be more of a tricky one if you don't have a particular faith at all, but for many people, they have got a belief in God. And out of that experience of your belief in God, there may be significant places where you feel that God has actually spoken to you about your life purpose. Do you have any specific destiny experiences, a gist of the significant times that God's spoken to you about, either through circumstances, through other people, or maybe key scriptures and things that have really meant something to you? In all of these different categories, we're not asking you to have detailed clarity about the significance. It may just be, I know this is important, I still need to examine this moment really to draw out the clarity. At the moment, what we want you to do is to note those things down in a way that you can remember and speak about them. And then in the peer coaching and in the deep dive sessions, we're going to examine those experiences a bit more clearly. And so in your leadership journal, you can use the space below now to then make your notes. Again, like in the previous sessions, don't worry if you can't find something for every category. Look through the categories and find one that you know you can make a start on, that you can begin to fill in on, and then go from there. Okay.